Welcome to the 1.9 update for Map for MindManager. My name is Nigel Goult. I'm the Managing Director of Olympic Limited, the company behind Map, and I'm also the lead developer. In this 1.9 update, we've added 3 new functions which we're going to go through one by one and show you exactly what they do. The first of the new functions is what we've called Move Task Start Date. Now, Move Task Start Date basically enables you to reschedule branch structures or task start dates of branch structures. You are currently able to do that across the whole map using the Move Project command that was introduced in MindManager 15 by MindJet. But this works on all of the start dates within the map, so it moves an entire project forward or backwards by whatever the changes that you select. What we'd found is we had a couple of requests from some map users who'd said, hey, would it be possible for you to do something similar to this, but something where we can use it in a bit of isolation down to branch level. So this is what we've come up with, and by using this, it helps you to reschedule sequences of tasks by either the whole of a single branch or from the descendants of a selected topic even midway in a branch. So as I say, it enables you to be able to reschedule project tasks by perhaps phase or group if that's what you've done, and also we had some people who manage courses within MindManager maps, and obviously particular branches are for perhaps particular weeks or something like that, and this will also enable you to reschedule a particular course or a sequence of timeline-driven processes without interfering with other areas of the maps where you don't want to have that change. So to show you how that works, we'll just have a look at the very simple structure here. So I've got some task start dates here which are done for the 24th of August, and the way that this works is I select the task that I want to actually move, and with the map ribbon menu open, I go to the Move Task Start Date function, which is located on the Topic Actions group here. And what will happen is when I click that, it shows me the current start date for this topic, and it asks me to select a new start date. So I'm going to move this forward by 1 week. Now you can, as in the same for the Move Project function from MindJet, you can decide whether you want to actually move any milestones that appear in this tree as well. So I'm going to leave that set as move them, but there's none in it, so it doesn't matter anyway for this demo. So if I click OK, you can now see that this structure here is now moved, so we're moving it along to start from the 31st, so all of these tasks here have now moved in line 1 week, but we've left the task 2 branch intact, so we haven't interfered with that in any way. Now it's possible to move dates forward or back. If you're moving a date back, you can only move it back as far as the start date on a preceding topic, if one exists. So for example, if I wanted to move this back to the 24th of August, I wouldn't be able to do it from this topic. I would need to select the parent topic of that, but I'll show you that in action there. So if I take this back, move that back down to the 24th, and you can see that everything pulls back as well. These topics are affected here whenever there's a dependency. Obviously if there's no dependency and it doesn't impact those topics, then they won't change at all. So as you can see, it's a quick way of being able to reschedule independent areas of the map without having to perhaps filter things on or off to actually hide those things that you don't want moved. So hopefully that will appeal to those of you who are managing schedules and projects. The second function that we've added is one called Property Renamer. As some of you may be aware, last month's update for Map, we introduced some really cool stuff around properties with the new topic properties section here. And one of the things we found, and some of the other people that have been using Map have found, is that when you're working with properties in the map, it's great, but as you build out property structures, if you then decide that you want to rename a property to perhaps give it a better descriptor, it can become quite time consuming, because what you effectively have to do is rename all instances of that property across the map. Now if you're using the map to perform calculations in formulas or AutoCalcs, you also then have to edit each individual formula. So we thought it would be good if there was a quick way to be able to rename a property and have that update across the map wherever the property is used, and that's what Property Renamer does. So, as I said, it enables you to change the property names without having to do it individually, and go completely through the map in one action and change and update the property wherever it's utilised. So, just to show you that in here, we've got a simple structure which includes some formulas, and what we can do is we'll change the unit sales. We'll change that to units sold, for example. Now this is used in all three of these subtopics, and it's also used here to calculate the total on the region topic. So the way that this works is you select the topic that contains the property that you'd like to change, and then you initiate the property renamer, which is located on the topic properties group. And once you do that, you'll be presented with this dialog, which then gives you a drop down, and the drop down will list, when you activate it, will list all of the properties currently on the topic. So we want to change unit sales, so I'm going to select that, and then it asks you to give it the new name. So we're going to put in here units sold. Okay, and we want to keep this checked because we do want it to actually update any formulas. So when we click OK, it'll scan through the map, and wherever it's found that initial property, it's now been renamed. So you can see the three subtopics have changed, and if I float over here, you'll be able to see that it's now changed to the sum of children for units sold, and everything keeps its integrity, so none of the formulas or AutoCalcs have become broken. So as you can see, it's a really fast way to change property names. Perhaps you've started building a framework map and you've got halfway through, and there might be 20 or 30 topics, and you think, I'd rather have used a different name for that because it's a bit ambiguous, or it doesn't define what it is I'm actually meaning. Hell of a job to go through and change that in 5 or 6 topics if they're being used also in calculations. So a real time saver for those of you who are working with properties. There is a couple of, one known limitation at the moment, and that is that where you're using properties in smart fills, it currently won't update those. So the reason for that is that the properties in the smart fills are not accessible through the API at the moment. So it means that in order for us to change that, we have to directly change the XML in the map, which is a bit of a more drawn out process for us to code. We wanted to include that, and we will be including it as soon as we can fit that into the schedule, but what we didn't want to do is delay the 1.9 release any further than it already has been. So you just need to be aware, it doesn't update smart films. You will need to go back and update the properties in those if you're using them. So moving on to the third and final one, this is called something we've called MultiFile Linker, and what this does is to give, it basically is meant to provide a quicker and smoother way for you to hyperlink or attach multiple files or blocks of files. So we know that quite a lot of people, in fact many users, are using file attachments in MindManager because maps are used as navigational aids to help people find information or files within systems and things like that. So the idea behind this is it'll enable you to add multiple groups of files in a much quicker way, and also you can do that with either a hyperlink type of method, or you can do it with attachments, and we've actually included a feature to enable you to do both at the same time if you do have a need for that. We've also introduced a little feature that means you can add files of a specific type by a folder, and I'll show you that just now. So starting at the top, we'll just do basic hyperlinks. So the MultiFile Linker is on the linking group of the map ribbon. So I select that and we see this dialog here. Let me just move that to the left. So here we can select what it is that we're looking to link. So we want to go for files for this. We can select whether they're hyperlink or attachment, but I'll demo both of those anyway. So we'll do hyperlink. I click the select files button and I get a dialog box that shows me I've got a folder set up here with a group of files, so you can see the difference. So what I'll do is I'll just select the last 4 of that group and I click open. You can see the files that I'm going to attach in the text box here, and then basically I'll talk about the general options in a little bit, but basically I click OK, and then those files are immediately just hyperlinked as you would normally expect them to be. For attachments, exactly the same process, except this time we'll change the type of file, of the type of process, sorry. We'll use the bottom 4 again, same process, click OK. This time we have those files as attachments. Now in some cases you might want to do both, so you might be linking to information that's stored in a relative path, or is stored on a storage device that when you share the map with someone else they won't have access to. So in that way, when that happens, the best way to do that is to actually attach information as well. So if you wanted to do that, again we go through the process, but basically we just say that we want to do both. I'll work with the bottom 4 again just to be consistent, click OK, and now we get both sets of, or we get the same set of files with both methods. So that's, as you can see, a really quick way to start adding multiple files. So the second thing that we've added here is by folder. So if I wanted to add a folder, now I can just change the type here. The link type still is the same, whether I want to hyperlink or attach the files. I select the folder, so I'm going to pick the demo folder that I'm using, and now I have an option here. I can either just basically attach everything in the folder. So this is quite useful if you've got collateral folders, for example, on a project, and you say, okay, this is project X, and on a particular topic where you're perhaps wanting to reference documentation, if it's all in one folder, you can click that topic, go here, select the folder, click all files, and all of those files will be hyperlinked or attached, or both, to your chosen topic, depending upon what settings you pick. But what we also thought it would be good to do is, if you're storing a mix of documents in the same folders, you might have some Word documents, some spreadsheets, some images or whatever, or maps even, we thought it would be good to just take some of those much more popular file formats and enable you to just quickly decide what you want. So for example, using our demo folder, I'm going to select documents and spreadsheets. I'm linked to the folder, I click OK, and what happens now is it's gone through and literally just pulled out all of the Word documents and all the Excel spreadsheets and linked those to that topic. So very quick way of doing this. The other thing that we've done is, if you've already linked to a folder, when you activate the multi-link option, it will enable you to sorry, that's not actually quite happened the way that it should have done. So what should have happened is that should have come up already populated, but I will fix that. And again, I'll just show you the all files here. So if I click all files, okay, it comes straight on, keeps the link to my folder there as well, as you can see, and brings in every file that was there. Now you do have some other options on the MultiFile Linker down here. So if you're working with hyperlinks, you've got the ability to decide whether they should be relative or absolute. If your topic already has hyperlinks or attachments, these buttons here, or these checkboxes here, will become enabled, and you will be able to choose that whether you want to clear those items before you start adding anything to the topic. And also the alternative to that is whether you choose whether to overwrite an existing item. So if you already have a file in position on a topic, and you're already bringing in the same file, we're bringing in the same file again, sorry, then you have the option whether you want to actually just replace what's already there or add it to. And that can be useful if you're wanting to build up a collection of perhaps the same file or the same document, but it might be just different revisions, but the name doesn't change. So that enables you to do that. So as I say, a very quick way to be able to get multiple files onto topics with ease. And apart from that minor little issue there on the folder, which will be fixed before this is released, as you can see, I think that's going to give you some really good value. So those are the 3 new functions that we've added for 1.9. There weren't any minor additions this release, so there's nothing to really report on that side. On the improvements, what we have done, and you might have noticed if you look at the ribbon I've got here, at the moment the ribbon that we have is has been consolidated down, and for new users this ribbon contains the functions that will appear when you first install map. Existing users, when you install 1.9, your ribbons will be exactly as you set them, apart from the 3 new commands coming into view. But the fact was that we're now up to, I think it's 37 functions with map, and we're obviously needing to try and manage that quantity of commands. So map 2.0, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, is on the horizon, and one of the things that map 2.0 is the biggest thing that it's to address is the interface around map, because we do have quite a few ideas for future things, and you know, space is limited, so we've got to come up with some better ways of working with the interface, and those are what we're working on with 2.0. But for now, just for this 1.9, we thought it's best for us to try and at least consolidate down something. So what we've done is we've enabled some of the more popular commands, or the more frequently used type of commands for map, and kept those enabled, and we've just disabled some of the others. They're still there, you just have to go into the settings and re-enable them. And it's basically been set so that the help map, which I'll show you, will highlight those, and it's just to stop the ribbon becoming too overwhelming. And although the commands do shrink and try and the ribbon does try and accommodate the commands in the best way that it sees fit, it is getting to the point where there's just too many, so we have to try and stop that. So that's the improvement we've made on there. There was a small bug fix which was related to property clipboard, which was one of the functions we released in the last update. There was an issue there where when you were copying groups of properties where there was also formulas involved, and sometimes the formulas could duplicate, so you would get an entry for the formula, and you'd also have an entry just as a standard custom property. So we've amended the code so that that doesn't happen now, so that's been fixed. And obviously we've updated the help map, which I've got open here, to cover the new information around the new topics. So all of that information is there, showing you how to get on with the new functions. And as I mentioned just a moment ago about the menu, we've also tagged the help map functions to show which ones are enabled on first install and which ones are not. So if you're a new user and you think, oh, I've read about a specific function in map and I can't find it, if you look in the help map and just scan through, see which color the topic is. If it's orange, it's disabled, and you'll need to go into the map settings to enable it. So, and finally on the map horizon, so what's actually going to be happening over the next 3 to 6 months is that we're really working now towards map 2.0, and map 2.0 will be a major version release, if you like. So as I said, it's going to have the interface changes. Up to the map 2.0 release, we may have 1 or 2 further updates, but those updates won't contain anything new. They will only contain any bug fixes or potential improvements or extensions to existing functions, because there are some functions where we've got some additional ideas that we want to implement, and we hope to get at least 1, maybe 2 of those interim updates out as we move towards map 2.0. As for map 2.0, so as I've already spoken about, it's going to be a new version, additional interface. There will be some new functions coming out with 2.0 as well. We're also looking to try and get you some new images and icons to add to that collection as well, so that you've got some new visuals to play with. And we're planning on releasing that around about October, November 2015. It's not set in stone, but that's sort of where we're aiming for, and at the moment I think we're probably looking at sort of early November, but we can keep you updated around that. And if you want to keep up to date with what's happening with 2.0 or indeed anything else on the map, then please, the best places for it are, just either follow our Facebook page, or the best one really is the Twitter feed, which is just at Nigel Goult. That's our Olympic feed, and anything that we do where it's improvements, bug fixes, or a new function or new release or anything like that, it always goes through our Twitter feed pretty much the day it happens. So if you're subscribed to that, you will be the first to actually hear any news about what's carrying on with the map. So that's it for 1.9. Thanks for taking the time to go through this. I hope you like the new functions that we've added. We've still got rafts and rafts of ideas for more to come. I just wish we had more time to be able to release bigger quantities at a time, but I think sometimes it might be better to not overload people and just give you a few at a time, so that you've got time to play with those and get them into your workflow, and make sure that you understand how to get the best out of them before giving you even more. So lots more to come. Stay tuned and keep mapping. Thank you.